Okay, Cameron Crowe, Lauren Loffer, and oh my God, I hate when this happens. Totally blank. Hannah Rowe. That's like my worst fear when I do interviews. Like, here they are, and I forgot their name. How terrible.
And you graduated with me.
Yeah, I know. But we haven't talked in 11 years, something like that. So
yeah,
a little break, but
makes me feel old.
Yeah, I know. It's a long time. Okay, so we our first group call. So this will be fun. To start things off, like I normally do, I'm going to kind of just provide some context for anybody that doesn't know what we're talking about. So about 6 weeks ago, I wrote a blog post, and I wanted to write a blog post about my Coal Valley experience, just because I've been thinking about it a lot over the years, and it's something I feel really strongly about reflecting on that experience. And I felt like I needed to get off my chest and share some ideas publicly that I don't think are really represented. And I wrote about basically why I think Coal Valley is not a healthy environment for kids, how I think it slowed my development and caused harm to me and to others. And basically, I posted it and my phone exploded, and I was getting messages nonstop for basically a week and a half. And after about 20 or 30, people that said, "Oh my God, thank you for writing this. This needs to be said. This is my Coal Valley experience." And I'm like, holy shit, these are serious things. And there needs to be a way that people can talk about this. It's not just me. So I made a support group, and people started coming to it and telling their stories. And from that, I realized how privileged. I mean, I knew I was privileged in Coal Valley, but the fact that I felt harmed by that schooling was really nothing compared to the harm that was caused to other people. So we eventually started a website called coalvalleyspeaks.com, and that's where all the kind of interviews and public content that people from the support group are willing to share publicly go. And we collaborated on what we called the joint statement. This is a really important document. This is the capstone of what we've done so far. And it's basically all the patterns of the stories that we found with quotations, real people's stories, and really kind of pulls out the themes and what our proposed solutions are to each of them. So we are trying to meet with Coal Valley to talk about this and some of our future plans as well. So let's just start it off. That's all the context. Let's just start off this conversation by asking you what was going through your head when you saw some of this stuff happening. Lauren, you can kind of relate to the game, right? You just recently kind of heard about this stuff.
I literally heard about it. I don't know when I messaged you, but that was the day I heard about it. And I was like, I need to be a part of this. You feel so I felt so, it was just my experience, I had no idea so many people felt the same way. Yeah, I'm way late to the game, but when I found out about it, I was like, yeah, I called her. I was like, did you? So she was like, yeah. But I'm just so proud of people because it's almost like this, the man, and we're all kind of making ourselves heard when I feel like so many people for so long just don't say anything because they either think it's just them or they're worried about what might happen. And it's so cool that we can all come together and make ourselves heard. But yeah, I'm late to the game for sure.
What about you, Hannah?
I think is it Instagram? I commented on something or I messaged you on something when I read it and I had to reread it and slow down and reread it again because I was just like, what Cameron? And I think I told you when I commented, I was like, first off, I was pretty proud. of all the classes, like I'm glad that it was someone in my class. I think that we had a really awesome class, you know, and we were all really close and bonded. And I knew that we were going to do great things. So I was like, yes, proud about that. And so I did feel like I was maybe not the only one, but like one of the few. Also, I think a lot of us maybe, I guess I can't speak for everyone, but like for me, it was more like worrying about like what people thought, or like maybe like retaliation, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it. So it was just
like
kind
you
of,
couldn't say what you thought because
because people would probably like, whatever, you're being dramatic or you're making it up, or that, you know, there was always a way that like you were in the wrong for feeling something
Totally.
that they weren't okay with, you know.
Even last night, I was laying in bed and I was like, am I making my own experience worse? But then I was like, Mom, like, was it this? Like, I talked to my mom and my sister, and they're like, yes, Lauren, like, what happened wasn't okay, and you have a chance to talk about it for the first time ever. And it's like that mentality that it's even now, it's like, wait, you know, was I really treated that badly? You know, even now, I second guess myself.
Well, because I think a lot of us have been conditioned over years that like if you feel differently than everybody else,
you're gonna get
there's
singled
something
out.
wrong with you.
Or if you break from the pack in any way,
It's just worse than fucking it up. But
Right.
like what you were saying, you know, about I could understand, like I wanted to be careful like how I came on if I did do an interview with you. Like I'm not stuck in my high school years anymore. Like I'm good. You know, like I learned from that, and now I'm kind of looking at it in a different perspective and, you know, taking it for what it is. But I'm not doing it out of anger or anything like that. But I think that this is a lot of people coming together with kind of the same story and background for it to just be like a retaliation kind of thing from us. So like I don't want it to seem like that, you know, because I have a lot of other stuff going on in life to put my energy into.
Absolutely.
And so I wouldn't do that. But
no, we're all busy, and I honestly think if it was just about, you know, screaming into the void and, you know, retribution, I think it would have kind of fizzled out eventually.
Right. I mean,
but because what were you saying?
This is like a decade later almost for you and me, and a lot of us, you know, or more. That's a long time.
It's still so important to us.
Right.
And I think the fact that we do want to make things better, like our mission isn't to tear the school down.
Right.
And what makes us really motivated and is kind of like perpetuating this thing is like, here are all of our hurts, but we have a real opportunity to come together and, you know, we have leverage together that we can actually make some changes. And we don't need to make Coal Valley not a Christian school or not what it is.
Right.
But there are a lot of like smart, common sense, you know, proposals that would make some of these things a lot better.
Right. And I mean, wouldn't you want to like get better, improve, like progress, you know, for positive, you know? So, I mean, I'm all for that. But yeah, when I initially read your blog, your article, I was like blown.
It hit home, major.
I'm pretty sure I like teared up a little bit because I was like, holy cow. Yeah, like I was pretty proud of you, even though you don't remember my name.
No, I said it.
No, you TP'd my house, Cameron Crowe.
Yeah, not gonna let that go. All right. Okay. Well, let's talk about Lauren's background a little bit, because that was kind of what we were what we wanted to talk about during this call. So Lauren, will you kind of, recap for us, at a high level, like when did you start going to Cole Valley, and, kind of what happened, and then we can kind of dive into some of the specific episodes, that are interesting.
Okay, so I started in 3rd grade. I had gone to Maranatha, which I think a lot of kids transferred from Maranatha to Cole Valley.
I think the audio is better if you sit back a little bit, or maybe if you adjusted the laptop, because like from Hannah's side it was like really clear, but then when you were sitting forward it wasn't.
Okay, is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I started in 3rd grade, transferred from Maranatha. Elementary school was pretty, I don't have any, it was pretty uneventful, and I've heard people say, it's not as extreme in elementary school. I remember in 6th grade, I kind of started to feel a little bullied. But I know that lots of people are bullied. I know it happens in every school. That's not what I'm talking about. Like, I'm sure I did things in elementary school that were not nice, okay? We're kids. And then, we get to 7th and 8th grade. 7th and 8th grade were really good years for me. We had a really tight group of friends. It was great. And then in 9th grade, I started dating someone, and it was a very intense for our age relationship. We cared a lot about each other, and we kind of just didn't really know what to do with that. We just loved each other to the most we could at that age. And I became completely just kind of obsessed with that relationship. We ended up catching a lot of flack for being together. It was one of the, everybody knew about it. We were talked to by teachers. He was pressured to break up with me. I was pressured to break up with him. You need to focus on other things. It's not like we were not doing good in school. It's not like we were being promiscuous or anything like that. We were just two people that really cared about each other. Our parents actually went and talked to one of the higher ups in the admin, like, can you guys stop? You're really stressing these kids out. Just let them, kids, that's what you do. It was made this huge thing, like you shouldn't be dating in high school. But we all did, it was just, we were one of the relationships that was on the forefront for some reason. I remember specifically one time we were out in the parking lot, and we were standing by my car, and we were like standing like this, just like high-fiving like this, just being stupid, whatever. And a teacher from across the parking lot screams at me, PDA! And we were like we're touching hands, and we were just villainized almost just for being together. And I had a student tell me, because I think this student kind of wanted to be with him, it was, you're like a doorknob, everyone's used you once, quote. And I was like, I'm a virgin though, how does that work? I don't think we'd have been kissed at this point. It was just, you're focusing on the wrong things. And no, I'm not. I was in choir. I was in volleyball. I was doing good in school. It wasn't like this huge crisis or anything.
Why do you think that they were wanting you to break up? Did they think you were,
I think maybe
too serious for your age? Like you were going to try to get married or?
I think they thought we were too serious. Yeah, there were parts about the relationship that were, like a junior high school relationship's going to be perfect? No, we cared a lot about each other, and it was nowhere near a perfect relationship. I'm not saying anything like that. It's just, it's almost like we were targeted. I don't know if they thought we were having sex. I don't know if they thought I was a bad influence. I remember teachers would pull him aside, and they really, really tried to almost condition him into this role, this leadership role, that he was just I don't understand what they want from me. he would get so upset that they were, you know, I don't know what it was. I don't know why we were so targeted. I don't know. I really don't know why. But it was, yeah, like our parents had to go talk to the teachers, like, is there a problem? Like, it was pretty bad. But I mean, that was the majority of my high school experience, is kind of that experience. But one of the bigger things that happened is in 2009, my junior year, it came to light that I had been being sexually abused at home, and it kind of exploded. It was on the news. It was a big thing. Yeah, and the reaction, like, this is the biggest thing I want to talk about, because I know this experience is, like, how do I say this? Like, I know other people were bullied. I know other people probably had worse experiences with teachers, but I think this experience is unique to me because I don't know how many other people had this experience. What happened is the cops came to the school. One of the teachers came and got me and was like, someone's here to see you. And I thought I was in trouble. And I go down and there's detectives, and they were like, we've heard this is happening. Is it true? And I said, yes. So I got taken from school, and immediately I was actually put in Hayes House, which is like juvie, because they couldn't find a foster home for me. And like the first day coming back to school, what the administration thought was appropriate was to announce it in chapel. So she goes up on the stage and says, there's, you know, something going on with the Loffer family, pray for them. And that was the extent of anybody saying anything to me about it. No teacher ever asked me, are you okay? Like, we were in foster care. Me and my siblings were in foster care, and nobody said anything. No teacher, do you need help? Like, do you want to talk? It was like, oh, we'll pray for you. And that was supposed to be enough. Like, I needed somebody, and no teacher, nothing. And so then my senior year was literally the worst year of my life. I ate lunch alone in my car every day. I literally became this, like, I no longer fit, my family no longer fit the perfect picture of the upper middle class white family anymore. We were, like, we had it was, people didn't really know what to do with me, so they just kind of were like, you have one more year, you're fine. Yeah, I think, like I said, I was alone my senior year, and I don't blame any of the students. Like, how do you react to that, you know? But I was literally just ostracized. Me and my sister actually left after 7th or 8th grade because it was so bad. She didn't graduate there. She didn't go to high school at all there because of how we were treated. And I already felt like it was my fault because I had reported it, it came out because of me, and I had already felt like it was my fault. But then at school, where you're supposed to, they are under this pretense of being this super caring, inclusive, and nobody, just nothing. It was like, we don't know what to do with you, so you're good, like, they just dismissed it almost. And my senior year was really bad. I didn't go to any of the senior activities. I don't have any pictures from my graduation. Like, it was really sad. Like, I didn't know, like, my friends, all of a sudden I didn't have any friends. my best friend was now dating my ex-boyfriend. Like I was literally like blacklisted almost. Like I felt like you don't fit it anymore. When now we know you guys have problems are supposed to stay in the home. You know, from outside looking in, we looked like every other family, everybody, you know. My first call, like it was just, before that I fit the picture, but then after that I didn't anymore. And so I was like, I think blacklisted is like the best way I can explain how I felt. And I've had a really hard time with that for a really long time. Like I'm still dealing with, I mean, I think we all are to some extent, but just my mindset is completely, like I catch myself and try and change my mindset. Like I'm just now realizing like, no, that's not how it should be. It's just not. And I was just really upset with the way that I was treated in this school where they're saying like, yeah, this is the safe place you come and this is where we all are here for you. But no, they'll pray for you. That's all. They'll pray for you. But
Which
that's
is like an excuse to not get your hands dirty or like keep them at arm's length.
Yeah,
Because, like, God's
exactly.
taking care of it. Or
like at night, I'll say a prayer for you before I go to bed. I'll give you my 2 seconds of thought, but I won't say to you, I'm sorry this happened to you. Nobody ever came up to me and was like, this isn't right, like what happened to you. And like it was
that sounds terrible.
it was really bad. It just, the way that they completely just pushed me aside almost after, and I'm not one to play the victim. I'm not like, oh, I'm the victim. But I was the victim in period.
Very literally, yeah.
Literally the victim. And so many people kind of like tell you, don't play the victim, you know, but nobody ever said to me like, are you okay? Do you want to talk? Like nothing.
Yeah. What do you think would have been helpful, like from the school, besides, you know, being
literally anything? If a teacher looked at me in the eyes and said, are you okay? Not like, they almost like I disappeared. It was like I was invisible. It was the strangest thing. I just didn't get it. Like, what did I do? Like, I don't understand. No one knew better. And I like, student-wise, I don't blame any of my peers for that because, you know, that's what we were kind of taught to do.
Everybody's a kid.
Yeah, and so I'm more disappointed in the teachers and the fact that it was announced in chapel, and that was the extent of anybody saying anything to me about it. We were in chapel, like my little sister, my baby sister is sitting there, and everybody's like, whoop. As soon as they said, something's going on with the Loffer family, if people didn't know about it, they went and Googled it, and they found out what happened.
Or gossiped about it, yeah.
Right, it was like something to gossip about, right? Like it was, oh look, like someone else has a problem, I guess you could say. The biggest thing I'm disappointed in is that the lack of support. You're gonna tell me teachers didn't know about it? Like they knew about it. I was a kid. I mean, I think I should have at least had someone be there for me. I don't remember anyone being there for me, and I literally couldn't see my mom. I was in foster care. I didn't have anybody. And I felt so alone and so lost. And I'm still dealing with feeling like, oh, that was it's my fault, you know? And I think that kind of attributed to it when everybody kind of acted like, I mean, what do you assume? I have anxiety, so my mind just goes, you know, and I assume the worst. And so I'm like, everybody hates me. Everybody thinks it was my fault. What did I do wrong? What did I do to deserve this? Like, my friends are gone. Friends that I've had since I was in 3rd grade, they're gone. I don't understand. Like, I was just like left reeling. Like, I graduated and I was like, what now? Like, what do I do now? And that doesn't, not even touching the education that we got. I literally graduated and I was like, I have no life skills. I have no friends. I don't know who I am. I had no chance to explore who I am. All I aspired to be was a housewife because that's the best thing you can be. It says so in the Bible. So I literally am 27 years old and kind of like relearning everything almost. Like my instinct is that like my sexuality, I mean, I've struggled with that because you know how it was. If you wrote about it and that was wrong, like that was just wrong. And I've just,
What do you mean? What was wrong?
having any feeling that wasn't what was listed in the Bible, essentially. Like any, like you said about how like, what was it? You said something in that article about how guys can't, or like if you're gay, like they stick things up. You know what I'm saying? What you said about that? Like we were told like it's a heathen, like you're a heathen for loving this person. And it took me a long time to realize like that's not what I believe at all. And I felt like wrong for that. Like because I was taught growing up, you're bad. And when it's bored into your head for 12 years, it's not just like, oh, I'm out of school now, so it's okay. That's how we were raised. You know, most of us went there since we were little babies. Like my daughter, I have a daughter now, and so it kind of hits home because I started, like a lot of kids started at kindergarten, they're 5, she's 4. You know, like it starts when they're babies. Like my daughter is still a baby to me, and she's going to start kindergarten next year. You're conditioned from day one just this way, and it's like brainwashing. I've always used that term. Like we're all just kind of brainwashed into this is how a good Christian is supposed to be. And I have no problem with Christianity. It's just my experience with Christianity is not a good one because the Christians that I've met, I don't want to be like that, so I don't want to be a Christian. You know, I don't want to be a Christian if that's how Christians are. Christians are hypocrites. Christians, you know, want you to be perfect, and if you're not, then you're not okay. But isn't that like the opposite of what Jesus taught? Like the people who are hurting and you know, those people need help the most, not like you're only going to get our approval if you keep us happy.
If you earn it.
Yeah, and if you look the same, like we were all supposed to, no crazy colored hair, no piercings, you can't show your shoulders because it's...
Because guys will, stumble.
Yeah, like you're supposed to protect men's thoughts. Like can't they control their own thoughts? Or you know, in the whole if you dress like that you deserve it, like that. It's I mean, I'm like getting all heated, getting all worked up, but I I'm not the person that I was supposed to be. And so just now, really, in my life, am I starting to be okay with myself? And just now realizing what I want to do and who I want to be and how I want to be, and it's nothing the way I was raised. Like it's just like any kind of creativity or uniqueness is, no, like you need to be, there's a rule book and you need to be this way exactly. And if you love a man and you're a man, or if you love a woman, you're not going to get into heaven, or, you know, and then people are like, I truly believe, you know, you can't pray the gay away. You just can't. And so all these people had suppressed who they were for so long. And that makes me so sad, you know, like all these beautiful, beautiful souls who were told the way you feel is disgusting. You know, that's horrible. That breaks my heart, you know, and so many of these people are just now at 27, you know, and like there's no age you should have everything figured out, but we're all kind of like relearning to be okay with ourselves and not have this self-hatred. Like I had self-hatred for so long just because you were told the way you feel, if it's not this, the way you feel is wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that one thing that really stands out to me about your story is this whole concept of victim shaming. And I've seen it in a lot of the stories. And I think some people are like, well, come on, like, did anybody really, you know, and in some cases this actually happened, but like people would be like, did anybody really go to these people and say, it's your fault? And I think the way you told your story, it kind of explains to me that you don't have to tell somebody that it's their fault for them to feel like it's their fault. And if you don't go out of your way to make it clear and support them and say, it's not your fault, it's not your fault, it's not your fault, you are like, you know, you in no way deserve this. And, you know, we love you the same. And like unless you're saying all that stuff and really reaching out and carrying them along, like they're going to think that. So like,
I mean, I was a kid.
Yeah. And like, you don't have to tell them that for them to think that. That's probably going to be their default, especially when they think that, you know, anything sexual is basically immoral until you're married.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was like, it's like almost like, you know how the whole concept of like, I don't think anyone out and said like if something bad happens to you, you're being punished for some reason. I don't think that was ever like written out so clearly, but but that's like a concept that I remember kind of learning about, you know, like the way, I don't know. I don't know if that's accurate, but it's almost like, well, obviously you did something, you know, like it was like almost like skepticism, like, wait, like, you know, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out, to be honest with you. I don't even know how
it's kind of conditional, like the way everybody reacted. They're like, I'm not sure if you deserved this, or if you had this coming, or
yeah, it was almost like
it wasn't unconditional love, that's for sure.
No, that's for sure. It was definitely conditional, and I understand not, you know, like I don't really know what to do. I don't know what to say. I understand it's an uncomfortable topic. Like nobody wants to talk about sexual abuse, and I get that. But at the same time, you know, it happened to me, and in those times is when you're supposed to like prove not prove, but kind of like
try to be there for those people.
Yeah, and I wasn't asking for people to be like, oh my gosh, like this huge, I wasn't looking for a huge to-do. Honestly, if one teacher had come to me and said, you don't deserve that. No kid should ever go through that. If one teacher had done that, I probably would not feel so wronged. Like if just at least one person had said those things that I have taken years of counseling to hear, if one teacher had said that, maybe it would have changed the way I felt about it.
Yeah.
But no one did. No one did.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest, that's my one, because I know lots of worse things. I know people, that was the one thing to me that's when you should show your true colors. That's when you should show, when something tragic happens, that's when you're supposed to show your Christianity and your unconditional love, and not when they're being good and everything's perfect. That's when you deserve love. No, it's when you're struggling and you're hurting. Like, I was a little girl. I was 17. Like, it was, and that wasn't even like that's when it was happening. Like, it happened since I was like a young kid. It was a lifetime of abuse. And
wow.
That's just when it came out. That's just when I was 17. That's just when everybody found out about it. So it wasn't like it even happened at that time. I honestly, I don't want to say that. It was, you get what I'm trying to say. I was just very disappointed in how I was like shunned. And I don't think that should be. I think there should be more counseling, and I think there should be more support, like, of, because I know there's kids in there that have been abused and it just didn't come out. I know there's a lot that support, like, there's a lot that support could do in that school. I just think that they need to evaluate how they react to like crisis almost.
Yep.
But that's my main point. Was I was just really disappointed, and it took me a long time to realize that that's how I felt. It wasn't I felt that way right away. At the time it was like, oh, this is my fault. But now I realize, like, they just kind of didn't really know what to do with me anymore, so they just kind of like, you're leaving next year anyway. So that's all I want to say. And if I could say anything to Coal Valley, it would be just like evaluate how you're, I don't even know, like how you're, be more present for the kids, and don't just tell them you're going to pray for them. Like, I think they need like more training. Like, these teachers are not equipped. Some of these teachers are not equipped for kids in crisis, because and no matter what school, that happens to kids. And I think they just need to be more equipped to deal with those kinds of things. That's the only thing I would say, is learn how, I don't know, practice what you preach, I guess. I don't know.
And then while we're on the subject of kind of your message for the administration, do you have a message for parents that are considering putting their kids in Coal Valley?
Everything aside, how I was treated, the teachers, I'm disappointed in my education, because our electives were home ec, computer, Spanish, or French, right? Is there anything else? I don't think there's anything else. My cousin went to Skyview in Nampa. There was cosmetology, there was nursing. She graduated as a CNA. And I discovered way after high school that I had a passion for taking care of people, and I want to be a nurse. I didn't discover that until very later on in life. I think it's more important to try and find out who you are before you're thrown out into the world, not just like go to Bible college or teach at Coal Valley or be a housewife. That's what I felt like my options were. Like there was no budgeting, there was nothing. I mean, no teaching you how to be an adult. I mean, that's what we're gonna be, is adults. They were just trying to teach us how to be the best little Christians we could be. No, you're supposed to teach us how to live in the world and prosper, you know? I feel like I just look at the classes and I just think parents need to think about what's important to them for their kids. That's all I would say to parents is there are more important things and better ways to prepare your kids.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I would say.
Should we give Hannah the floor now? Thanks a lot, Lauren, by the way. So Hannah, what you want to fill us in on your background with Coal Valley? Like when did you start, take us through your progression through the years, at a high level.
So what year was it? I started in elementary. I don't remember what year. All the way up until, this is an easier way to put it. I was homeschooled for junior high, basically. Fun fact, I should have actually graduated a year before before we did. But I'm glad that I didn't. I did my freshman. I came back to Coal Valley freshman year. It was way different than what I remembered, but I mean, I was a child, so. But even because I was one of the ones that started when I was a baby, and then I just missed 2 years, and I was already out of the group when I came back in high school. But I mean, I knew a lot of us still, Matt. I remember Matt, which it was a different aspect than, I don't know, very cliquey, but more on an extreme level, I guess.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, but.
I want to come back to that, but if you want to kind of, walk us through the rest of your high school experience, we should come back to cliques for sure.
Okay. So started back my freshman year, Coal Valley, and then graduated in 2008. So I guess basically all my education was there except for a year of junior high. So.
Okay, cliques. Why do you think there was, it sounded like you were saying that it was kind of more cliquish than you think.
I mean,
cliquish elsewhere.
I guess I don't really have anything to contrast it against. Why are you out? So I mean.
I totally agree, by the way.
You know what I mean? Yeah, but I try to remain open-minded. I don't have anything I was homeschooled, so what? I have that to compare it to. But I did have friends, shocking, I know, Nampa Christian even, a lot of my close friends went to Nampa Christian, and I could tell it was a different world than what I was in. The Coal Valley world is definitely a world.
What did your Christian friends say that made you think?
I mean, even not necessarily addressing it outright, but just in conversation or when we would play against them, the dynamic was just different, and the vibe you could tell was different, and I don't know. It was something that I was curious about because it was something that I felt like I wasn't experiencing. which kind of made me think, like, why? Because we're both Christian schools or whatever, you know, shouldn't we be, like, sort of having the same experiences? But it just seemed very black and white different.
Yeah.
Even friends in, like, public school, it seemed different. So I always, like, kind of started to think about why or wonder why, but that wasn't okay. So I shut that off and, you know, kept trying to do what I was supposed to do. But yeah.
Besides the clicks aspect, are you getting an echo, by the way?
No.
Okay, good. Besides the clicks, was there anything else that kind of stood out to you about the Coal Valley experience looking back? You know, you said that you kind of had some strong reactions to the blog post I wrote. Was there, you know, anything in there, or like independently in your own experience, you're like, this really stands out?
Oh, that's a hard question. Can I, like, redact when I said you could ask me anything? Like, you can't ask hard questions.
Okay.
No, stood out.
Or just something that comes to mind, like.
Well, I'm having a hard time, like, picking.
Oh, okay.
They're like
Just start.
Jesus. I mean, where do I start?
Just pick one. First one that comes to mind. Whether that's, you know, how gay kids were treated, or I don't know if that's one of the ones you or
I guess
or
so.
sexism,
I guess
or dress code or anything.
I mean all of that, but I guess just like the mentality that was like just shoved, it felt like down your throat of this is what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to be and how you're supposed to think. And if you deviate away from that in any way, there's something wrong with you and you better figure out, you know, why you have the devil in you, basically, like, is how it felt. So, and I don't know, like, sometimes now, like, looking back, sometimes it's like, it didn't even necessarily fall under, like, what the Bible said. It just was what they said. And they said that the Bible interpreted it this way, and then that is what you're supposed to do. So, you know, exploring, like, how you interpret things in your own way was even like, whoa, because you weren't allowed to think that, you know, different. I guess the biggest thing, and it kind of like ties what Lauren was saying, like, just that it was like, where were the adults when the adults were supposed to be the adults and we were the children? And, you know, where was, like, even, hi Lauren, how are you today, when she had her situation go down? And, you know, like, I was going to the school, we had graduated, and I was going to the school to see if she was okay because a teacher couldn't, like, the principal couldn't, you know, like, the Bible teachers couldn't, like, and I mean, she's a very extreme story. And I know that probably most fall underneath of that story, but I feel like a lot of people have, like, their own story that kind of, like, goes, you know, falls in line with that. And it just was a very judgmental, something is wrong with you if anything is happening that's not great in your life. Like, you must have done something wrong because you're being punished for, you know, and no one took the time. I mean, not saying that people should have, you know, gone and dug for information with, you know, Lauren's situation. But even asking if she was, like, okay, like, where was that? Like,
Right.
there's a lot of people, I mean, the interviews, I mean, even like Mr. Dave, like he was an adult. He is an adult. Sorry, Mr. Dave. You are an adult. But I'm saying, like, they even treated other adults, like, horribly. And it's like, it stands out more as I get older and farther away from it, I guess. But it definitely, like, looking back, hindsight, it had a lot to do with the outcome of myself, I guess, was the root of it was the adults. And I don't know. And there was, I mean, they didn't all fall under just like disclaimer, like Mr. Sacked, Mr. Dave, and probably people I'm forgetting as well. Like, I super, super thankful for them. I felt like Mr. Sacked especially was, you know, one of the very, very few. And like, I honestly can't say anything like bad or, you know, negative about him. But I mean, that set like the standard. We watched how the adults treated another adult, and then, I mean, I don't know. It was a very vicious world, I feel like. And I mean, I get it happened. Can't change like what happened, but I think that it definitely had an impact and like an impression on like the mental health side of things, I guess.
Oh, can't hear you. Maybe.
Sorry, I'm here.
There we go. Cool.
I think mental health needs to be more explored there, because no one talks about depression or anxiety or any multitude of so many mental health issues. It was almost like, you know, just pray about it and God will help you through it. No, like, my brain is wired wrong, you know. There was no support for mental health because it was different, and you can't deviate from the Coal Valley standard. That's it. You just can't, no matter what it is. If it's your fault, if it's not your fault, pray about it. And like, when you said about like chapel, you know, raising, if you were killing it if you were like, and I always felt so like, I never felt spoken to like my friends were, and I remember being like, I want that, you know. And I think some of those people were just saying that because that's how their parents acted and that's how they were raised. But I truly was like, I don't get it. Like, what am I missing? Like, then it's like there's something wrong with me because I'm not feeling this like fire inside of me. And I never had that for God, and I was never like, like, oh my gosh, I love Jesus. Like, I never felt that, and that was how you're supposed to be. And I understand. There's teachers that acted like you're supposed to feel this fire. This is how you're supposed to act. And I was always like, you're acting kind of crazy, you know, like I never had that. I never felt that. And then you end up thinking, oh, there's something wrong with me because I don't have this fire that you're supposed to have, and I don't have it, so why? You know, there was no.
I remember feeling that way.
Yeah, there was no, and like worldviews. What worldviews? Worldviews was like teaching you how to debate with non-Christians and having all these points that really didn't make sense, but they're literally like conditioning you how to like
not listen to other people,
to debate and to not listen to what they're saying, but respond. You know, you're waiting for your turn to talk. Essentially, you're not listening. Well, this is science. Oh, well, you know, the Bible says, well, okay, like it's a cool story, like it's a storybook. You know, that's how I feel. And I'm leaning more on the side of, like, I'm more atheist now, if you want to call what I am, if you want to label it. that's what it is. And I'm learning a lot in my life about science and about, like cool stuff that's like real, like there's proof. Like I feel fire about that. You know what I mean? I don't feel fire for, and then you have to, it's faith. Like you don't have faith. It's like, well, I mean, it's just so confusing, and any kind of intelligence or questioning is like, no, you just need to blindly believe that. And to me, that's, sorry, but blindly believing something is stupidity. Like, I want to see proof, I want to know, and I'm not going to dedicate my life to something I don't 100% know about. Like, I need all the information. Show me why, how, when, and it was just like, nope, just believe it. Because we say, that's why. So that's, I'm questioning things, and I'm trying to, it's like the opposite. Like my instinct, I kind of usually go against it, because my instinct is how I was conditioned and how I was raised. So I kind of just like go to the other end of the spectrum, and I usually believe more on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yep. I think I think two things that you said there really stand out to me. Is like, when you're brought up this way, it's really hard to shake it down the road, even if like, I shouldn't just kind of take things at face value, and because the right people said that that's how it is, that's what I need to think. It's really hard to shake that, and then once you do break free, if you do break free, it feels like so many of us kind of like the pendulum swings. You're like way on this side of not being open-minded or thinking critically, and then you kind of like, at least for myself, and I think a lot of others, it's like, wow, I don't know what I can like hold on to at all. I need to like basically like strip everything clean, and then like try to like add the things that make sense anymore.
Yeah, it's like we're trying to teach ourselves how we should have been taught. And if that's how you want your life to be, if I'm not going to tell people how to live their life. I'm saying this is my experience. I know some people truly, truly, truly in their heart believe, and I met some great people at that school, I'm not going to lie, and people that are how a Christian should be. You know what I mean? They act I don't know exactly what I'm saying.
There are really good people that are Christians.
There are good people that are Christians. There are. And, there's bad people everywhere. And, all I'm saying is, for me and for my daughter and my future children, that's not how I want her to think. That's just not for me, if that's just how I feel. I don't want, and not everybody has their right to feel a different way. And even that in Coal Valley is like, no, you don't. You don't have, God gave us free will, but,
Right.
So just for me, not for me. I'm not trying to criticize anybody who sends their kids there or want to send their kids there. I'm saying money can buy way better things. I'm telling you, put it in a fund for college. Do something else with it. Like, there are so many better things that money can be spent on. That's all I'm saying. Like, if I had all the money that my parents spent on my education, and this is what I'm left with, I don't think they got their money's worth. That's all I'm saying, is if you're going to pay for something, you know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Thanks. No, that was good stuff. So Hannah, we've got your final questions left before we'll wrap it up, because we're at an hour now. But
oh my gosh. Okay.
What are the things you would say? What do you want the administration to hear, and what do you want prospective parents that are thinking about putting kids in Coal Valley to hear? Or to think about, or have on their radar.
I mean, it all kind of just ties back into, I guess for people interested in the school, I guess just do your research, really have up front in your mind what is important for your child, not only like right now in the present, but also their future, you know, life skills and things like that. I'm not going to say that everything was bad and negative and just horrible, because I mean, I'm here, I survived, but I don't think that if I had children, I don't, but I wouldn't want them to just like survive their education. So, I mean, and God forbid anything bad happens, because your child's gonna go through a whole nother realm of fun. But so I guess just do your research, stick to your priorities and what's important. And yeah, maybe these interviews that will help, you know, watch and read the comments. And that's kind of what I mean by do the research, because now, thanks to you, it's there and that's available for people that want to hear that side of it. So, you know, whereas before it was quiet, it wasn't there, there was nothing bad to be said. So I think this is a really great thing for that too.
What about the administration?
Administration,
Sorry, I'm gonna say one more thing. It's kind of like, what can you say? You know what I mean? What can you say to these people who, you know, they're not gonna change? You know, no matter what you say. I'm more worried about the kids, not the adults in the administration, because a lot of them, like, let's be honest, it's not gonna, well, no matter what we say, they're gonna respond with the Christian answers. And I think parents think they're sending their kids, I think parents think I'm spending money, so that means it's going to be a better education. No, that's not the case. Just because you're paying for it doesn't mean it's the best thing. I think a lot of parents think they're doing the best for their kid. And I know my mom was like, I think this is the best thing, right? You know, but this is so important for parents to hear. It's not necessarily the best thing. Here's why. This is our story. There's other stories that would differ, would say it's the best experience of their lives, but just there's two sides to every story. Now there's two sides to every story, to this story. Now there's two sides. Okay, I'm done, I swear.
Did you think of your administration message?
I feel like I'm saying the same
You don't
thing.
have to.
No, I feel like I'm just like repeating myself. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
A summary is good. We've covered a lot of ground for sure.
And like what Lauren said, I mean, my parents had the best. I mean, it was kind of sad for me, like telling my mom basically like, hey, thank you for, you know, your intentions were amazing, and I know that you best interests at heart. But you paid for a scam, you know, like that's a lot of money, and I don't put any of that on my parents at all. You know, they were doing what was best for me. So wanted to say that. But I guess to the administration, I mean, I understand that it's been a long time since you've seen us, and you probably feel like you don't know us anymore and you don't know our heart. But just like hear us out, I guess, is one thing I would say. The other thing, I guess, is just to not be so wrapped up in this, like, yeah, it's like an image that you have to keep up. I mean, my sister's more than willing, Cameron, to do like another interview with me if you would want. But she had a pretty extreme situation go down. And the administration basically told her that it wasn't real. And I mean, she was in physical like danger, and no one no one, even remotely, like, it was just brushed off. And you know what? The kid that was kind of the problem in the situation is now in jail for murder. So that kind of hits home for me, and I don't think that, I mean, that's my blood. So I'm not gonna go into extremes, but because for her safety, she is willing to do an interview, but
Let's do it.
so there's that. But I guess,
After that.
yeah, just stand up and, you know, do the right thing, protect the kids, you know, love them unconditionally, and just be there. So I guess that's what I would ask. But
That's great.
yeah.
Well, thanks you two for a really good conversation. The tag team interview, I'd say, was a success. Firsts. Yep. All right. Well, thanks again. You guys have a good rest of your day. And yeah, I'm excited for other people to hear your stories.
Yeah.
Thanks again.
Bye.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.